I have looked at thousands of data points to try to figure out what really drives the Bitcoin price. What is the marginal buyer? What's the marginal seller? Now, it's not the common narrative. Most people think that Bitcoin goes up over time because it gets bought by retail investors, because it gets bought by the ETFs. But that's actually not what we see. Have a look at the number of Bitcoin that's held by the ETFs. That's barely changed in the last year. And the treasury company story, unfortunately, also doesn't really hold. When we look at the balance of all of the Bitcoin treasury companies, that also barely changed in the last 6 months. The only thing that really changed is Michael Saylor's strategy. Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, continues to buy into Bitcoin. And that's what's keeping the Bitcoin price relatively stable. Hi, my name is Gerhard. I've been in crypto for the last 8 years. I got my first million 3 years ago. And I did this through active trading, through timing the market. On average, I outperformed buying and holding Bitcoin by 2% per month. That's how that looks like over time. There's also a copy trading pool for the premium members of this channel. This is last year's performance and this is this year's performance. We are on track to hit our 40% per annum target again. And so in this video, we're going to look at the drivers of the Bitcoin price. Specifically, we are looking at MicroStrategy as the marginal buyer. Now, even though there's a lot of financial engineering with MicroStrategy, even though we've got the derivatives, we've got the convertible bonds, the fundamental business idea is that MicroStrategy can buy Bitcoin for cheaper compared to what its value at on the balance sheet. So the market cap of MicroStrategy is larger than its Bitcoin holdings. This is called the net asset value premium. It's currently at 28%. As long as this is positive, MicroStrategy can continue to buy Bitcoin and make a profit, at least on paper. And so that then makes this chart here extremely interesting. What about the MicroStrategy price relative to the Bitcoin price? How does the premium develop over time? The vertical line, that's when MicroStrategy started to buy Bitcoin. Before that, of course, Bitcoin outperformed MicroStrategy a lot. First because Bitcoin appreciated that much, but also because MicroStrategy was struggling. But since MicroStrategy started to buy, it at least kept pace with Bitcoin. It actually outperformed. By how much? The answer is 125% over the course of a bit under 6 years. Now, what is this line over here? That's the cutoff. That's at the current cost basis, how high MicroStrategy's valuation has to be relative to Bitcoin. If that was to contract and the 28% net asset value premium diminishes, at that point, Bitcoin becomes much more risky. And so that's just the nature of leverage in general. Let's say you are buying a house and then the value of that house is going down and then it eats into your equity and you even have negative equity. Now you've got a problem. The same is true, let's say, for a car loan, right? You buy a car, finances over the very long term. Now the price or the value of that car goes down faster than you can pay off the car. You've got a problem. And so MicroStrategy will have a problem when its valuation goes below its Bitcoin holdings. The company will not get liquidated, but it won't be reasonable to buy any additional Bitcoin. So we have to find another marginal buyer. That's not MicroStrategy. The other companies have to step in, the ETF has to step in, or somebody else has to step in. Somebody has to buy. That's not MicroStrategy. The question is just who would buy? Again, this is just drawing a scenario. We are still at a positive NAV premium. Over time, Michael Saylor bought Bitcoin more and more aggressively, and so it becomes more and more dependent on an ever-increasing Bitcoin price. Check out the unrealized gains or losses over time. During the bear market in 2022, MicroStrategy was in losses as well. But now in 2026, at the bottom, it was in even deeper losses. It's currently in unrealized gains again, so everything is safe. But again, it doesn't feel very comfortable to own a house with negative equity. So what's the fundamental problem here? The issue is that MicroStrategy can only buy a lot of Bitcoin when its collateral is worth a lot. When is the collateral worth a lot? It's when the price is high. In other words, the company can only add additional leverage in a significant manner when the price is already high. It can't really buy the bottoms well. It's doing the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We should buy the bottoms and maybe sell the tops. We should not necessarily stop buying when we are low and buy very aggressively when we are high. But Michael Saylor is forced to do so. After the massive Bitcoin run, he bought extremely aggressively, and he bought much less aggressively during the bear market, only 3 small purchases. And so his average cost basis jumps up at the top of the bull market, and that then leads to those unrealized losses. Now, due to this structural disadvantage, MicroStrategy is more volatile, as in when we are in a bear market, it tends to go down more compared to just Bitcoin. But what's interesting is that even though Michael Saylor cannot buy the bottoms aggressively, long term it still outperformed just buying and holding Bitcoin since the strategy got adopted. This here is the drawdown from the all-time high. So we've got Bitcoin over here and we've got MSTR over here. MSTR tends to draw down more from the all-time high. And this time the drawdown is much more significant compared to 2022 because the company got more aggressive in buying Bitcoin. But is that additional risk, that stronger drawdown, worth it? I ran the numbers. So this is MicroStrategy Analytics, our backtesting platform, and we are running now the autocorrelation of strategy versus Bitcoin. So we're looking at how did past outperformance or underperformance correlate to future outperformance or underperformance. This here is the result. When MicroStrategy underperformed Bitcoin, it tended to subsequently outperform. And when it outperformed Bitcoin, it tended to subsequently underperform. Now, what's the time frame here? I ran the numbers. I looked at when is the correlation of past to future performance the highest, and the answer is at 1 year and 47 weeks. So every data point over here shows 1 year, 47 weeks on the x-axis and 1 year, 47 weeks on the y-axis. This particular data point, for example, over here shows a positive log return for MicroStrategy relative to Bitcoin, which then led to a negative log return in the forward period. This here, the circle, that's where we are right now. MicroStrategy is pretty much break even versus Bitcoin over the last 1 year and 47 weeks. Now this is actually good news, and the reason is there is a positive tilt here. We already talked about this at the beginning of the video. MicroStrategy was able to outperform Bitcoin since it started its purchasing approach. And so the default is that when MicroStrategy did neither outperform nor underperform, that the forward-looking return tends to be positive. How positive? Here are the numbers. Our predicted forward-looking return until April of 2028 is an outperformance of 125%. So that's annualized an additional return of 52%. Isn't that fascinating, given that MicroStrategy always has to buy high and cannot really buy low? For this to work out though, we have to watch the net asset value premium very, very closely. If this now long-term falls below 1, then MicroStrategy is cooked. And with that, Bitcoin will be very fragile as well. But the numbers are easy to find. It's just on strategy.com. You scroll over here, you have the MNAV. If that's above 1, everything is fine. And MicroStrategy is likely going to continue to outperform. If that falls significantly below 1, then we've got a problem. If you want to get access to this backtesting tool and you want to backtest all kinds of assets over here, not just autocorrelation, but also seasonality or trading indicators or regressions or optimizing dollar cost averages, there's all kinds of modes. Then feel free to check out the premium membership. Link to premium pops up here on the screen. If it's the very first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube, or see you in premium as well. Cheers.